Welcome to Corpse Club, the official podcast of DailyDead.com. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jonathan James, and I'm joined today by Tamika Jones, Bryan Christopher, Derek Anderson, and Scott Drebit. If you're listening to us on release day, then today is Black Friday, the official kickoff of the holiday shopping season. And on this episode, we're going to share our horror shopping picks and tips and tricks for you or for the horror fan in your life. But first, we're going to go a little off topic. We've had a long and good year of Corpse Club episodes. They've been pretty structured, and with it being the holidays, I'm like, oh, what the hell? Let's talk about some other stuff. So especially now that Bryan's on this episode, I had to share this because, occasionally I will share with my co-hosts and with our listeners some of the movies that I subject my family to. I finally had my parents for the first time watch the original Hellraiser. And it was, it was very exciting. So, I mean,
that wasn't uncomfortable at all.
I mean, it gets more uncomfortable, but, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. We know it's one of Bryan's favorite movies of all time. And I've always wanted to show it to my parents, but it's like, it's not their type of movie at all. I mean, they like classic horror. They love horror movies, but they don't like that kind of horror movie. So I've always shied away. Like when we do marathons, I'm like, I want to watch. I'm like, nah, I'll put on something else. But my sister is staying over from out of town for Thanksgiving. She's staying at my parents' place. Her husband's there, and he's never seen Hellraiser. And my sister, she watches horror movies, but they scare her a lot. She loves the Hellraiser series. So I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity because he wanted to see Event Horizon. Which everybody knows I love to. And I'm like, well, we can't start with Event Horizon because you haven't seen Hellraiser, have you? And he's like, no. I'm like, we have to watch Hellraiser. But he doesn't like older horror movies. He just has a thing with not even older horror movies, but just older movies in general. It's the pacing or it's the way it looks. So, like, if he knows the movie's old, it doesn't work.
How does he define old?
I don't know if he has an exact definition, but I mean, he loves movies like Hereditary, but he doesn't like watching like older television. I don't know if it's the way it looks, but for whatever reason, like we'll say after the 2000s. It's just a guess from me. I'm still kind of playing with the timeline, kind of figuring out exactly what he likes and doesn't. But this helped. Thankfully for me, if you go to Amazon and you look up Hellraiser, it says it came out in 2011. Because they uploaded it in 2011. So we look at, the movie's there. I'm like, oh, well, it's like, and then my mom was like, wasn't this an older movie? And she starts looking, I'm like, shh, don't you. And she stopped. And he didn't know when the movie came out. When they're watching it, he kind of realized, obviously, that's a little bit older. My dad, the whole time was like, they really went out of their way to make this look like it's from the 80s. And so it's a captive audience. My mom got a new 4K television. It's like 60 inches or something like that. And so we watched Hellraiser in HD, and it was my mom, my dad, myself, my sister, and her husband. And it was, I was watching, I'm like, oh, well, like, this is going to be fine. Because, like, I'm showing him Hellraiser. It was a little uncomfortable. It helps. It honestly helps that I watched Midsummer with my mother. Because nothing will be more uncomfortable than one of those end scenes. I mean, that if just a 5-minute sex scene, and some, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I'm not used to watching sex scenes with my family. And so anyway,
well, I bet you got mighty used to it after this one.
Yeah, right. So between Midsummer and Hellraiser, it was a little less uncomfortable, but it was interesting to see their reactions, right? Like thankfully, it was later in the day. If my dad was going to, if he didn't like it, he would have fallen asleep, but they all stayed up. They all enjoyed it. And it was cool to see their reaction to it because, like so many people, they thought that Pinhead was a slasher, like Michael Myers or like Jason. So they expected to see Pinhead showing up all over the place, putting pins into people, I guess. And so,
which would also be cool.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
you get a pin, and you get a pin.
So then let me ask you, Jonathan, was anybody then pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a slasher movie?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's what kept them awake, because the story was so interesting and different from where they thought it would be going, and they had so many questions, right? And it's so to see it play just as well as I hoped it would was really nice. I mean, it was to the point where my mom was like, well, I want to see the sequel because there's all these, like, you know, these fantasy elements. And it's like, well, where does it go? Why was Pinhead only there for a few minutes? What's this other world? And like, what's going to happen? And so I think over the holidays, we're going to continue to make our way through the Hellraiser series. It's going to be, they don't know it's going to be nothing
whole
but
series?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they need to join the sadness of the rest of the Hellraiser fans. So
or that can be your gift, is that you'll stop at Bloodline and then you'll just say, like, this is what I'm not subjecting you to.
This is true. We're definitely going to go up to Bloodline, but I haven't decided whether we're gonna keep going. And then
I would stop at 2 if you really want to keep them in good graces. Really, I think 2 is where you can stop.
I used to stop just at 2, but I find that I like Bloodline a lot more these days, and they like Adam Scott, so I think like them being like, oh, this guy who I'm used to seeing in comedies and Krampus, and it's like I think they'll like it.
And I feel like 3 and 4 is the way to really kind of like separate the people who love it enough to go down I'll say an interesting rabbit hole with 3 and 4. At 5 and after, you're just it's just bad. But like 3 and 4, like you'll catch those couple of people who like the series so much that it's just like, oh, it's a departure and it's weird, but I'll go with it.
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm still I go through the whole. I'm making my way through the whole series. I recently saw Hellworld, and I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of fun.
What do you think of Superman?
Right? Like, talk about unrecognizable. That's crazy. It's crazy. But I enjoyed. So I don't think I've seen Deader. And is there another one with hell in it?
There's a Hellseeker.
I haven't seen Hellseeker.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 I haven't seen.
So you're almost there.
I'm almost there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like I like Inferno, the one Scott Derrickson did.
Yeah, I did find myself, and this is a real revisit. I did revisit Inferno. And,
oh, nice.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, so I'm gonna definitely get my family up to Bloodline before Christmas. And then they saw Event Horizon. I wasn't able to make it because I was working, but they watched Event Horizon. Like, they were so into Hellraiser that they continued to Event Horizon the next day. I was really proud.
And they said, "Hey, this movie's a lot like Hellraiser."
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a sphere instead of a cube. It's it's like Bloodline adjacent.
Yeah, it's not even the first Hellraiser movie to go to space.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and did you talk to them about how there's the hell cut that's kind of lost footage of all the hell scenes and everything that they're kind of looking for right now?
No, I didn't. Are they looking for it again? Did news come out?
No, okay.
News
has resurfaced. It's just always
Derek, you got me excited for no reason. I'm like,
Release
what?
the hell cut?
I'm like, wait, they're looking, because sometimes they find that stuff. It's like, I mean, they thought a lot of the Doctor Who episodes were lost forever, and they found them. I don't remember where, but they found them like 50 years later. So.
Jonathan,
still hope.
I love that you love Event Horizon.
I do.
I really do.
Scott, you're in the minority here, buddy.
I don't care. I'll plant my flag.
Yeah.
My little Canadian maple leaf flag. I don't care. I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's a freaking K-Tel's greatest hits sci-fi horror movie. So.
Yeah, and we're getting a TV series from Amazon. Like, I never expected that we'd be getting an Event Horizon TV series, but we will.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh,
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Please do
Adam,
tell.
Yeah,
Adam
me either.
Wingard's working on a TV series for Amazon, and
Okay, now I'm interested.
yeah, that was we covered that, right, Derek? I didn't dream it, right? That's real.
No, we did cover
Okay,
it. Although
thank
sometimes that happens where you think something happened and then you just realize that it's your mind.
Yeah, I have dreamed
creating
like really big
scenarios.
news before. So I was like, and then everyone's like, wait, what? And I'm like, maybe that was a dream. But no, it's real. It is real. You can look it up on Daily Dead and other outlets to
Hey man,
confirm your
content
sources.
overload strikes again. There's so much new stuff.
This new, I thought this news was announced like 2 years ago, but just looking at Daily Dead, it looks like it was announced in August of this year.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
it's pretty
way more
new.
recent than I remember
Yeah,
it being.
it's pretty new.
Which is good.
Yeah, so we should be getting an Event Horizon series next year.
All right. I think I would probably, if it's done right, it would be amazing. And just to expand on some of the ideas in the movie and be able to let it breathe a little more. I just thought there was so many elements in Event Horizon that it didn't work for me as a whole. But I think stretched out and breathing a little more in this world could be really, really cool.
Yeah, I'd be curious if they would do I wonder if they would do a prequel where they would show follow the ship that they go in search of, or would they just do a completely different, maybe it's a ship going after the rescue ship. I mean, so you could do a sequel or a prequel there.
I bet it's a reboot, just expanded.
Oh, okay.
That's my guess.
I could see that too.
Their ship is going to cross paths with the Lament configuration ship from the end of Bloodline. It's going to be
tie it all together.
It's going to be the Event Horizon Hellraiser crossover you didn't know you wanted.
I do now.
That's funny. Okay, so this was a Black Friday episode, right? So then, of course, we're going to move right into happy belated birthday, Tamika.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Before we get into the celebrations, Hell Horizon.
I was thinking
ahead.
that, and I didn't say it. Yeah, and then the other one is Event Raiser.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Event Raiser sounds like a daily planning app.
Yeah, it sounds like a generic fundraising event or something.
Or a special a special razor for those special events when you need a close shave.
I thought the same too in my head, and then I went, no, I think Hell Horizon's better.
Yeah, I think so.
So happy birthday to Mika.
Yes, happy belated birthday, Tamika. We're going back to it. Don't worry.
Woo!
So Tamika, and you were live Instagramming, and so I got to catch you. You were watching movies. So tell us a little bit about what you got to watch on your birthday, because I'm curious to see what you think.
Oh, I had the bright idea that I would watch Happy Birthday to Me, since I had never seen it before and it felt appropriate yesterday. So I decided to invite everyone who follows me on Instagram to watch it with me. And when I saw your name pop up, I was like, oh my God. I got all excited. So I
Daily Dead in the house.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Listen, I felt bad that I was spreading the suffering. So this connects to Hellraiser, spreading the suffering.
So I take it you were not a fan, it sounds like.
No. Okay, no. I would say the first 20 minutes I was in, because it starts off with a kill. It was actually a really decent kill. And you know how that goes. Someone always has to be stupid. That's how we keep this movie going. That's how we keep the plot going, So I liked the kill, and I was frustrated by the character's stupidity. And I don't know, the college campus, and they at the bar, they have a couple of drinks. There's a mouse that I forget. Oh, the mouse's name is George, I think. So I was totally into it. And then it just gets just bonkers from there. I would say the last 10 minutes were a doozy for me. I think
not in a good way?
Not a good way, no. There were people watching it on the live who stuck stuck with me to the bitter end. And I appreciated them for that. And they had seen the movie, so they were excited to see my reaction to those last 15 minutes. And apparently it was everything they wanted and more.
So we know Scott likes this movie because he dusted it off. I don't know when you dusted it off, but
2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
August
few
6th,
years
2016.
You know, Tamika, you're a year older now, so you're supposed to be a little bit wiser.
Oh, no.
How can you not like this movie? Look at that cast.
Let me tell you, Scott.
First off, it makes
it's a half an
zero
hour too
sense.
long.
You think it's a half an hour too long?
Yeah, it takes these weird paths that just I couldn't keep up. Well, for one thing, half the people in here, you complain about a certain Friday the 13th entry having interchangeable characters. I could not tell you the difference between anybody in this movie.
So you must be kidding.
I am not kidding.
You must be joking.
Sorry, sir.
No, I started calling people.
You got Mary. You got Mary from Little House on the Prairie. You got Matt Craven from Meatballs. You also have Spaz from Meatballs. I don't think anyone else is from Meatballs.
Was that Star?
No Bill Murray cameos.
You have Glenn Ford.
Just because you could recognize them from other movies doesn't mean that their characters in the movie were like at all drawn out or fleshed out. It just so happens that you knew them from other stuff.
Brian's got your back, Tamika.
I could not disagree with you more. While I don't think the characters are on the level of Halloween, I at least thought you could tell them apart, and they had identifying characteristics and a bit of personality. And I don't
they were
think
Canadian.
Well, duh. Of course.
What have I started?
And what about? And I thought the kills were creative.
Those
one of them's on the poster, right?
Well, that's one of them. Yeah, that's one of the 6 most bizarre murders you'll ever see. And then you have that. And then you have that Scooby-Doo ending. That Scooby-Doo ending is fantastic.
I will say the scene at the end where they're all at the party, quote unquote, that was very effective. But it just took way too long to get there.
Listen, every movie is 10 minutes too long.
Well, this one was 30 minutes too long.
It's funny because this one's it's like an hour and 50 minutes, which is a little longer than the average slasher.
It needs that long to tell its story. It has to breathe. It has to live. It has to stick a scarf into a motorcycle spoke.
I had to take a nap.
But that was. How do you not hear someone coming up from behind you? The person even touched the scarf.
Are you not on a horror podcast? Are we not? Do we not watch horror movies? Why would we question something like that?
I do have to agree with Scott on that.
It's silly. It's silly. And then some of them, I didn't even know what their names were, so I started calling them like purple shorts and like scarf. It was just like, what am I watching? I'm so confused. And then they're like, okay, I won't say the ending. Never mind.
I don't think I can win her over on this.
I don't think so.
Maybe it requires a rewatch next birthday.
Someone from the live suggested that I watch Bloody Birthday.
Yeah, that's fun too.
So I might do that.
That's Killer Kids.
Yeah, that's one where it's like they were born on was it a solstice or something, Scott?
Yeah, it was a full moon on a Thursday or some shit like that. And 3 kids were born at the same time in the same hospital, and they become best friends, and they like to kill people.
And that one was recently, I believe, released on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think Arrow put it out.
Yeah, Arrow did it.
Yeah.
And happy birthday to me. Not that Tamika wants it for her birthday next year, but that was released.
That's Columbia.
This year as like a special VHS retro style Blu-ray that you could get at like Walmart, or now you can get on Amazon too, but it looks like an old VHS packaging, which is kind of cool.
It does. And then when you pull it back though, it's got that horrible reissue with the girl with the with the huge eyes, photoshopped, holding a head cake or something like that. I don't know what.
I haven't seen this one. I need to look it up.
Oh, it's a really bad cover. But those ones, not that anyone cares, because Bryan and Tamika hate this movie with all of their soul. That reissue that came out doesn't have the original soundtrack, which is quite good, and it was a completely different soundtrack was put on.
Oh, interesting. Must have been like a rights issue or something.
Yeah, something to do with that. But I think maybe it was Anchor Bay put out a special edition about 5 years back or so.
Oh yeah, 2017, I think.
Yeah, and that had the original soundtrack on it, but it came and went really quick because apparently everyone hates it.
Is the art you're talking about the one with the girl holding the cake?
Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's awful.
It's terrible. I'm looking at it.
I love these VHS repackagings though, because they have it for Silent Rage and
I have the Silent Rage
Kids.
One. Yeah. I just picked up Silent Rage.
Oh, you can even get it for Neighbors, Scott. The John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd Neighbors.
Oh, really? I don't like that movie.
Oh, come on. You got to rewatch it.
No.
Ooh. So as we're since we're supposed to be talking holiday shopping for horror fans, Derek, where can you get this? Is this all on Amazon? You said Walmart, but if you want these special editions, where can you get them?
I think originally I remember, Charlie, my hairstylist, he gave me the download of these, and he's a Corpse Club listener. So shout out to Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
No, wait. All at once we have to say, hi, Charlie.
Yes.
Like Charlie's Angels.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
3.
Hi, Charlie.
Wow. Did we all just get hit
there
before we started to say that, or what was going on there?
It was improvised.
I don't know what happened.
Hi,
okay. Yeah. Hi. Hey, Charlie.
Thanks for listening.
So he let me know that you could get these at like Walmart. I think it was some kind of an exclusive at first, but now you can get them just on Amazon. If you type in the movie title and then just type retro VHS, it'll pop up, and it looks like a VHS tape too, which is pretty interesting. But
hey, speaking of Amazon, I just ordered a Fright Night Blu-ray that came out a couple years ago, and it's from Europe, but it's all region. It might be a German release.
Oh, interesting. So
this
like
isn't
Twilight time?
It's not Twilight.
No, because I think Sony did a U.S. reissue, but you got all region.
This has the full documentary on it and everything.
No, nice.
So it might have just come out last year.
And I'm assuming you have a region-free player then?
No. It's the disc is
all region. Yeah,
it's all region.
Oh, okay.
Even though it says all on the back, but it also, if you look on Amazon, it doesn't. It says region B, but if you look on the actual blue, it's all region.
These sound like some good stocking stuffers, although that one I'm guessing might be a little more pricey.
That's just for me.
Yeah.
No, it was like $16 Canadian.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to hop off here and start buying stuff.
Yeah, I think that's part of the tough thing is that as horror fans, or maybe just as me, like a lot of these deals I'm looking at, like especially like the horror related ones are like, I'm like, oh, okay, well I need this, or I would like that. Like, you know, like if you see like when Severin's gonna have their Black Friday deal, like I don't know, you know, not too many people in my family would appreciate a Severin Blu-ray. So like those are things that I look out for. So I think, you know, Black Friday is great for horror fans that are kind of looking for themselves in some way, because you get, not only are there, you know, better deals on, you know, Blu-rays and merch and whatnot that have come out throughout the year, but Severin and Vinegar have titles that are only available during Black Friday, and I know they're still revealing what some of those titles and other releases are going to be. So I'm excited about that. So
now, Jonathan, Severin, are they the one that if you buy Kathy's Curse, you get a free Kathy's Curse mask as long as you're anybody of note?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically almost everybody can get a free Kathy's Curse mask when you go to the vinegar or the Severn booth. And,
Brian is coming hard tonight.
He really is.
Didn't like your happy birthday to me take.
That's funny. And for those that missed out on it, make sure to check out our live from flashback episode from last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's my favorite thing to do. Like I've been doing a lot of shopping on Amazon for family members, right? So it's always great to be able to, I can always justify to the finance minister when I'm doing the online shopping for her family, and it's like, mixer, pair of slippers, Town That Dreaded Sundown Blu-ray.
Of course, those all go together.
Hair dryer. Well. But it was only $8, hon. It was only $8. And with that sweet ass Amazon Prime shipping, I ain't paying nothing but $8.
It's funny too, because like it'll be so random. Sometimes you'll be looking at Blu-rays or they just suggest them to you on Amazon, and then for some reason it's like $15 off on this, even though it's not really a sale. It wasn't really advertised as such. It's just like, you can have this for like $9 today. Why not? Mm-hmm. Like you're just walking into some shop and the owner. I know you get 25% off.
And this was the remake of The Town. I have the original on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay.
So I want to watch them back to back because it's more than just a remake. It's like a requel.
Yeah. It's kind of like,
sort of.
Yeah.
It's really different. And if people haven't seen it or given it a chance, I would say I would recommend it highly. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have not gotten around to that one yet, and I need to get on that because I thought that was a really interesting hook that they had that with kind of making it almost like a real, almost like a Scream vibe, almost with Stab, where it feels like it's a movie within a movie.
It's an interesting take. It's not a straightforward remake, that's for sure. But if you haven't seen the original, check that out too. That's a great 70s. It's almost done documentary style, and that was Charles B. Griffith's thing, as it were. These he did the Bigfoot and the Legend of Boggy Creek, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one came out from the originals from Scream Factory or on Scream Factory right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but check those out. Those I would highly recommend those for people who haven't seen those yet.
And Tamika, how about you? Any recommendations, whether it be Blu-rays or shopping tips? What do you do during Black Friday as a horror fan?
Well, I definitely agree that the original, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, that's definitely a recommend. I saw it for the first time like 2 years ago, and I fell in love with it. And it has like moments of comedy. I didn't expect that. And yeah, I've never seen the remake though. But I agree with Scott on that. I do recommend that. But Black Friday kind of scares me because, okay. So I needed a new laptop. This was like 2013. And I thought, surely in 2013, nothing crazy will happen. Those kind of things that you see on the news, that's not going to happen. That doesn't happen anymore. So I took myself to Walmart and I got a Chromebook. I love her. She's still with us, barely. And no, it was not. There was a mini stampede that I didn't get hurt, or, I was way, way far back in the parking lot when the doors opened. But after that, and then I kind of like witnessed a little bit of a fight happen in the like the DVD, Blu-ray, like entertainment section, but specifically where like they put like the movies and stuff.
Ooh.
And after that, I just said, nope, we're just if I need anything, we're doing it on Amazon. We're going to wait for Cyber Monday or whatever it's called. Or I'm just going to like go to like a tiny place, that won't draw a crowd and just get my thing and be done with it. Do you guys? I don't know. Like, are you guys even interested in the story? I don't know. I might. If not, I can.
No, I can
really
actually
skip
relate.
to that.
I can relate to this because in 2013 I had a laptop issue and I had to go to the Apple store in the mall like 2 weeks before Christmas. And I remember it was just pandemonium, and it wasn't Black Friday, but it was one of those big shopping days. And there's even these Charles Dickens Christmas carolers like in these 1800s costumes, just taking their sweet time, walking down, like taking up the whole mall hallway. And here I am, I'm like trying to go finish my finals, my papers for finals. And I'm like shoving my, like trying to like elbow my way through all these carolers. I'm like just bah humbugging everywhere. And it was quite a Christmas that year, but I survived. But yeah, anytime you have to go into a mall, especially, it's just on a weekend in December or late November, it can be pretty chaotic. But it was I survived. But
it's always the best time for TV shopping. I find Black Friday. We were in the market for a new one, and I'm so excited because tomorrow ours arrives, which is a 65-inch Samsung 4K.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it was like $350 off of its normal price. So that's our Christmas present to each other.
There you go.
And the rest will just be stocking stuffers, but we needed it for
when does it get
downstairs. Sorry?
When does it get there?
Tomorrow.
So I'll be there Thursday. So make
Sounds
sure you
good.
have another plate for Thanksgiving. Oh wait, no, you're not even doing.
No,
You just go
No.
over to celebrate Thanksgiving, Brian. You just show up and all festive like, and with the turkey.
Bring
and
the turkey with you. I'll eat it.
Yeah, Scott's not gonna leave you outside.
I'll bring the side that nobody would want. Like I'll be the guy bringing the green bean casserole.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, you're right, Scott. That I mean, now is a really great time for 4K TV buying. They're super cheap now. I mean, sub $500, you get a nice decent sized 4K TV. Like those prices dropped really quickly.
Well, we almost clamped down on the TCL 4K 65-inch, which was actually what was it, $550 or something like that. Like, it's crazy. The prices are insane. I can remember when we got our first flat screen TV about, 2005 or something like that. And it was 47-inch, and that thing cost us $2,300.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember those big. I had got a big projection TV, and again, it was like 50 inches or something like that. It was like, you had to roll it into a room.
You may as well be watching a piano because it's just as heavy.
Yeah, and I had to pay for that thing in installments when I was younger. So yeah, it's but yeah, so now I mean, like I said, it's really easy to kind of get a decent TV. Something else I wanted to mention is that there are a lot of great, we're talking about going to stores, and as Tamika, as you mentioned, like going to the store on Black Friday is kind of a nightmare. I'm glad that stores have kind of gone away from being open all day on Thanksgiving, because I think it's terrible. My wife, worked in retail for years, and like to have to like work on the holidays, like that kind of stuff sucks. So what we're seeing lately is that like they're having Black Friday deals throughout all of November, basically the same like type of deal. And so I think it's nicer. So it's not just one day or like, one or two crazy days. And so that gives you kind of a better opportunity to get, good deals. Like Scott, like you got your TV recently, and those deals kind of go throughout, the holiday season. But then, aside from that, online we see that there are, from the safety of our couch or our recliner or wherever we are, we can just order online. And like I always keep an eye out for places like Fright Rags and Cavity Colors. Fright Rags always, they always make great shirts. I don't have the budget to get every one of their shirts as much as I want to. So I always keep an eye out for gifts for myself. And then also that they do the Tea of Mystery, where they kind of get some of their old exclusives and whatever they have around the warehouse. And you can, get your grab bag for like $5 a shirt.
Yeah, it's a good time to stock up on your horror wardrobe. And I'm out whenever I go on Fright Rigs, I'm out and there's been a sale, and even if like an hour's gone by, I'm like, oh crap, I hope they have the right size, because it's like, oh, we have all these shirts available, but if you don't get there right away, sometimes the size you want is taken. So, but it's it's amazing, like the designs that'll go on sale too, and for how cheap it'll be. So I almost always wait for a sale when it comes to like Fright Rigs, and then Cavity Colors usually has some really good threads, and Creepy Co. But yeah, I know Fright Rigs has already been advertising their Black Friday sale, so I'm pretty pumped to see what they got.
It was pretty cool. This year they did you see they basically designed it like a mock Toys R Us ad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's really cool. And there's like the PDF or something you can just kind of like virtually flip through. I didn't print it and then flip through it. That'd be weird.
Well, what I think is great too is about the online revolution when it comes to, shopping, is it's also great for the brick and mortar stores too, because it forces them to compete. Like you said, Black Friday now is the entire month of November, and Black Friday is specifically an American shopping tradition that has spilled over into Canada, because they can't, in the age of online shopping, they have to compete hard. And I think it's great all around for business, because you look at all the crazy sales that you see in stores, not only online now, because they have to, otherwise, they're doomed.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm one of those people where we've had this tradition of always going out on Black Friday, like me, my mom, and my sister, and now her brother-in-law and his family will go. And it's changed a lot. Like, even like you mentioned, Jonathan, like the Thanksgiving Day sales, like now it used to be like you'd go on Black Friday, like really early in the morning. And it felt like that opening scene from Krampus, where everyone's just looking for their Turbo Man doll from Jingle All the Way. And instead, now you almost feel like you're walking into like a Dawn of the Dead or something, where everything's kind of picked over to a certain extent, but it's like calmer. Like you came after some horrible thing happened, and you're like, oh, here's a shredded stuffed animal. But it's still like, I love just getting out there and like seeing like what's going on, because I actually feel like some of the stuff in store has to live up to what's going on online, even on Black Friday itself. And Target, I know, will like restock things throughout the day too, where like they have different sales. I don't know if they still do this, but they would have like different sales start at different times. So if you like went at a certain time, you could catch a new wave of product that would come in. But it'll be interesting to see what happens this year. Like we always start at Menards, and then we go to Super Target, and then from there we'll go to like maybe like a clothes store, and then, or like Best Buy, and then go to like Half Price Books and Barnes and Noble and just stock up on a bunch of books. But I think like Annabelle Comes Home is going to be one of the Target goodies this year for like their movie sections.
Ooh,
for like
$9.
I think I was surprised. Like my sister told me about this, and I think it like comes out very, like, I don't even know if it's out yet, but I know it's, I should know this offhand, right? Because I love the movie. But
I thought it was out already, but maybe the special edition's out.
You're only the news editor, but
let's not point fingers. Oh, it came out October 8th, so it's been out for like.
Yeah, I remember you covering it. That's why I mentioned that. Wow. I mean, Heather covered it, but you had to publish it and find the image.
Interesting. So get on that, folks. If you haven't seen it yet, go out and see it.
That's hilarious. I love it. Something else I wanted to mention before I forget, and I mentioned this last year when we were talking about holiday shopping. Everybody's like, what is this? This isn't real. But there is a website that is called Camel. It's 3 camels, like the camel you ride, okay? And you're like, well, what is this going to be? Well, I promise you when you go here that it's helpful. If you shop on Amazon, a lot of us shop on Amazon. Camel, and I will stop saying it 3 times. I'm just going to call it Camel. Will allow you to basically copy and paste the link from Amazon, and it shows you historical prices. Because one of the things that I've seen online that they've done, like they've done tracking, not Camel, but just in general. I think I saw it on like Lifehacker or Wirecutter. Is that Black Friday doesn't always give you the best deals. Sometimes it's after Christmas, sometimes it's other times of the year. So if you want to see if you're getting a good deal on something or if you should wait, especially when it comes to specifically when it comes to Amazon, go to the Camel site, copy and paste your Amazon URL into there, and you can see a chart that just goes up and down. And so it'll let you know, like, hey, like this thing that's, on Black Friday, it's $100. Well, 2 months ago, it was $50. And you're like, hey, well, I should wait. And then you can kind of set up alerts. And so if you do shopping ahead of time, you could set it to just tell you when the price reaches its threshold.
I don't know, Jonathan, I just went on that website now, and it is very not safe for work.
Nice.
Camels?
Well, you did not type in the right
No.
URL.
You put in
You said
camel
it-
toe.
You said it's camel
toe.
XXX, right?
I think I
I
said
don't
it
know
was
if it was that camel cubed, but
camel.com. So that's my
Camel
recommendation.
cubed.
Somebody told me this before, and I was like, no, this isn't real. And for years now, I've been using this to know whether or not I'm actually paying a good price for something on Amazon. So, I mean, I've saved thousands of dollars over the years
That's
using
a cool
the site.
system. That's
So-
a cool
it's
system.
funny because a friend of mine was actually, we were just talking about this over the weekend. So I was thinking maybe I imagined it, but now that you're talking about it, I did not imagine it.
No, we did talk about this because I try to tell everyone. Everyone's like, nah, it's not a real site, but go there.
Did Derek post that on
You
Daily
get
Deb as well?
commission.
And for those listeners who are wondering what company put out that Fright Night that I got for 17 Canadian, it was Eureka Entertainment from the UK in
Nice.
2017. And here's where it pays to pay attention, right? Because when I got it last week, it was $16.99. Now it's $34.
Ooh.
See, yeah, there you go.
Oh.
And and I always, what I'll always do too is I'll leave like a ton of stuff that I want in my cart and just kind of save it for later. And when you visit your cart from time to time, you can see all the prices that go up and down. So my cart
I'm
tends to
afraid
be
to do
my
that.
wish list.
I'm afraid to put a bunch in my cart because I'm afraid I'm actually going to click continue.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, it takes a couple extra steps. I mean, at any given point for my like save for later, I have like 20 items in my cart at like any given time throughout the year because I shop for people throughout the year. So as somebody mentions something or as like I see something I think somebody will like, then I'll just get it. So I don't have to kind of shop for everything throughout right around the holidays.
And you have like a secret passageway like within the walls or something where you keep all this stuff.
Yeah, I have to hide it because Christy she'll try to find it. So yeah, I'm not going to say because she'll listen, but I hide it in other houses. Right. I hide it in other places. Yeah.
Turn off, Chrissy.
Something else I want to talk about. We've been talking about Blu-rays, and we talked about obviously T-shirts from Fright Rags, but especially with a lot of people doing with it getting colder, people doing their ugly Christmas sweater parties. I wanted to give a shout out to Middle of Beyond.
Yes,
they have some great horror Christmas sweaters, cardigans, and every year. It's one of those things where I never get something for myself. At least from there, I've bought gifts for other people because usually they go about 50% off because it's like $80 for a cardigan. So like paying half price, like $40 is pretty good. But they have a Necronomicon cardigan. So this year for the holidays, I'm going to be sporting that. So I'm going to get a Necronomicon cardigan. But they have the Shining Rug pattern. They have Planet of the Apes. So especially for somebody,
they've got a bunch of good stuff, man. They got RoboCop, Star Trek, Planet of the Apes, a really good Krampus. Black Phillip, it looks like. They got a really nice Friday the 13th final chapter. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here.
So what is the website again?
Middle of Beyond. Okay. And and like I said, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, on Black Friday last year they did 50% off, and then they kind of like throttled it back like 40, 30. So anyway, if you're listening and today is Black Friday for you, then make sure to check it out. They do sell out. Last year, I remember like some of the mediums and larges were gone pretty much right away.
Oh, not a problem.
For anybody listening, my size is an extra large. Just at Evil Taylor Hicks on Twitter. You can DM me. I'll give you my address, and I'll tell you where to send this thing.
Oh my God.
Jonathan, was this the place where there was like an alien face hugger ski mask that you could get as well at one point?
I believe that was through Mondo, and I didn't get it because I say this, I've been naming things that I buy, but I really they're just a little pricey for me. So I won't buy it for myself. So I think at one point Christy got me like the Mondo, like the Shining rug pattern ski mask, which I've been using for years. But like I couldn't spend it on the alien one. It was just a little pricey. I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to wear it. But the Shining one I wear all the time. Like if I'm shoveling snow, I have it. Like all my neighbors see it and like, what's wrong with this guy? I look like Cobra Commander meets The Shining. Yeah, it's but yeah, they did release that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Mondo always has some great merch as well, but it goes quickly. So for me, it's like, yeah, you got to kind of get right in and out.
Oh my God, they have a Gremlin sweater.
Yeah, see, they have some good stuff. And then I'm also
Twilight Zone.
So I don't forget to mention this, later. Heather does such a great job with her holiday gift guide. So I'm throwing a few things out there that like I always keep up with, but Heather has a very, very extensive list coming out, and you can also view her past years to kind of see. She'll hear from indie artists. We'll always she'll have a tweet, and we'll retweet to kind of get people to say, hey, whether they're making ornaments or, paintings or prints or whatever, she really spends a ton of time just digging for the best and obscure horror merch. So we'll be releasing that for the holidays.
They're the best. Her guides are the best, hands down, out of anyone out there.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, she really does put a lot of time into it. So that, like I said, if you're on Twitter, you're probably aware of your Fright Rags and your Creepy Co's and stuff like that. And so, like I said, but she mentions them and she goes the extra mile. That did kind of lead into, I wanted to talk a little bit about eBay, because I think a lot of people forget. They think about like new merch, but there's a lot of great old stuff on eBay. And so one of my recommendations would be that if you have a horror fan that's hard to shop for, and in some cases too, people will just buy for themselves. So like my parents will never get me like Blu-rays because they know that, I kind of get them when they come out. And, same thing with shirts or whatever, if I like it, I'll kind of get it. But anyway, on eBay, they have all kinds of great, horror memorabilia. And my recommendation would be, if you have a horror fan, in your life, or you're looking for something to decorate your room, that they have posters that, go back to the 50s and 60s that you can get for under $100. So, for people that are looking to, like I said, decorate a new room, or you're looking for a little something for yourself or for another horror fan, search eBay for classic horror posters. I mean, there's really great stuff on there. Obviously, if you're looking for mint condition, rolled instead of folded, those things are going to go up. I mean, especially if you start looking at Universal Monsters, you could be looking at $500,000 or $1 million. But you can find Hammer posters for $100 or under today. So don't think that maybe, certain posters or are out of your budget, that there probably are some really cool ones. You just kind of have to dig a little bit. So,
years ago, I found a Burnt Offerings poster folded, but it's an oversize. And I didn't realize how big the damn thing was until I brought it home. And I'm going to need to specially commission a glass warehouse to build a frame for this thing, because it's large and it will take me probably a fortune to frame this damn thing.
That's a real good point. And it depends on what you want to do with it, right? There are, I guess there's a couple reasons why you want to frame it. The obvious one being just to hang it up, right? The other one is to preserve it. if you're not looking for this to last decades or we'll say centuries, then you really don't need to spend that much on a frame. Because the frame's going to cost more than the poster in a lot of cases. So that really is, like, for myself, like, that always is a consideration. I have a lot of posters that are in tubes because I will collect posters, and sometimes I will just, like, if I find when I'm at a convention or on eBay, like, I'm looking sometimes for those oversized rolled posters. And you're right, they're like 30 by 60 or something like that. They're big.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And so if you're getting them like archival framed, like, you're looking at minimum of like $500 to have the, you know, the acid free paper and the UV glass. But honestly, like I said, you don't need to do that for most posters you get. And so, like I said, unless you're trying to preserve them. So, you know what, you should, I wish, you know, had Heather been on, there's a place that she uses where they're online, but like you can like pick your size and they're super affordable, and she uses them. So I'll look it up for later. But I'll just say there are places online where you can just, you know, you can get a basic frame. You can get, you could even do like plastic instead of glass. And so you could frame that thing on a budget. So I would look for that.
I have the plastic ones for the ones in my room, and I was thinking of upgrading those to just into a glass frame, a regular frame, I should say. But yeah, we have places in Calgary here that'll do it. And frankly, after I'm gone, I don't care who enjoys it or what. I'm sure they're just going to give it to Goodwill or something like that anyway. So I won't know. So I'm not going to pay for any kind of acid imprint reflux capacitor kind of. No, I'm good.
But then the beauty of that is another Burnt Offerings fan finds it at that Goodwill, and then they put it up on their wall.
Well, okay, here's the thing. You know what? I would probably leave it to Bryan.
I appreciate that.
The audio,
but you're still not getting the good frame.
You were talking about Bryan the engineer.
No. For you, but you still wouldn't get the good frame. If you want it to last beyond that, then that's up to you.
I'm picturing it getting bequeathed, but like the condition you have is that it needs to be folded at least like 27 times and put into like a 4x4 inch envelope.
Yeah. That's how I got it, though. Well, not that small.
And when I open it, your ashes come out with the poster.
Oh no! It's so
like
sad now.
It's like a really horrific, like glitter bomb prank.
Yeah.
That's elaborate. I'm gonna write that down.
It is.
It never comes out of the carpet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in my will.
Yeah, but anyway, so plenty of horror poster options, and you don't even need to go full size or oversize. You can do the half sheets. So anyway, so there are plenty of options there. And I think that's a great shopping option that most people don't think about. Because like I said, you kind of think about, well, what can I get people that's new? What Blu-rays are available? But like I said, for like $100 or under, you can get somebody a pretty cool retro poster.
Yeah, sometimes old is better than, the hot new stuff on the market. All right.
Thanks, Derek.
To put it into savvy marketing terms.
Color commentary. Yeah.
And I know this is nothing that's earth shattering, but another fun thing to do if you're looking for something that is going to be a little bit left of center in terms of, fun horror stuff. I love just browsing on Etsy and just seeing what kind of random stuff people have.
I was going to say that.
Because it's also, you usually get it super cheap because it's just people kind of doing their own thing out of their house or something like that. And you can get some really, really cool, unique stuff off of there.
Yeah, and there's also good. There's also
I agree.
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick. There's also a great community on Twitter of folks who do this stuff specifically that you can also throw some money in their pocket for fantastic artwork, retro posters, T-shirt designs, the whole 9 yards. So go out and support your fellow artists too if you can.
Yeah, in the horror community, we are spoiled with good artists that not only do like good new artwork, but they're find new ways to bring out these characters from older horror movies. It's just really amazing. So, ditto.
Yeah, I really want these shot glasses that I found on Etsy a few weeks ago. They're all the like horror icons.
Oh, nice.
I'm like totally into Etsy these days. I'm on there all the time. Like, oh, if I had $1 billion, I would buy all of this stuff.
Yeah, it's very
suggest-
like you see the love that these people put into it, and then it's kind of like reminds me almost of like half.com it's not around anymore, but it was like an extension of eBay where you could like buy people's like book collections and stuff like that. It just felt a little more personal, but that is no longer. So I think you have to do that on regular like eBay. You can it just absorbed everything, but Etsy for arts and crafts, it cannot be beat.
Yeah, before I forget while I'm thinking, because these things they just keep coming up. Also, 1984 Publishing has some great books. As we're talking about different artists, they have Ghoulish from Ghoulish Gary, which goes into kind of his art career and highlights some of his best work. And then there's also from Mike Gingold, he has Ad Nauseum, and just Ad Nauseum 2 just recently came out. And that highlights like newsprint ads. I think he goes from the 80s in the first book, and I think it's the 90s and 2000s in book 2. And that's just a real fascinating read, especially for people who grew up at that time, to kind of see the different type of advertising they did, for some of your favorite movies, especially in New York City. And so, so I'd recommend those. Those are great.
Yeah, that's so cool too. Like it's kind of like a lost art form, the print newspaper ads, because when I was growing up, that was still how we would like figure out like, okay, let's see what's on the newspaper page. And especially in the summer when it was all the blockbusters, and you're like, it literally determined like what movie I would see sometimes. And then everything kind of changed once, Fandango came along and that internet, But at least it's forever preserved.
It is, yeah, and Ad Nauseum. But no, they're great books. So anyway, so 1984 Publishing does that. And like I said, there are all kinds of different, different gift ideas. Also, I wanted to call out Horrified. I had a chance to play the Universal Monsters board game. I don't know. Do any of you play board games?
Yes,
sometimes.
Yes.
Have any of you played Pandemic?
No,
yes.
But
yeah.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Yes, it's really, really good.
I think that's actually going to be on my Christmas list this year, because we were at the state fair this year, and they had that board game. They had like a demo that you could play, and they're like, yeah, you should really check this out. So I'm like, ooh, I'm not going to get it right now, but I kind of want to play this eventually.
It can be punishingly difficult, but it's a lot of fun.
And everyone plays on one team, right? Like you're working together.
Yeah, it's co-op.
I really like co-op board games. They're usually more fun than competition. Usually just because I get way too into it when it's competitive. It's nice working with people rather than against them for board games, at least for me.
Yeah, then you get a Monopoly situation. Nobody wants to play with me. So no, I also prefer co-op games. But yeah, so Horrified is very similar to Pandemic, but it's with the Universal Monsters. You basically got to find different ways to kill Dracula, or you got to avoid the creature from the Black Lagoon, and it scales up. So like 2 people can play it. Christy and I have no friends, so we just have to play, by ourselves. No, we do, but we don't have any time to get everybody together. I'll stop by your house,
Jonathan, on the way up to Scott's.
Yeah, perfect.
With you.
If you go to Scott first, and you can bring him, and then the 2 of you can join us, and we'll have. I think it scales up to 6 or 8 players, but yeah. So Horrified just came out recently. I highly recommend that. That's a good one. And then for Pandemic, they have a Cthulhu Lovecraft version of Pandemic, which I'm going to be picking up. I haven't played it yet, but I saw it. They have a Lovecraft flavored version.
Yeah, they had that on display as well. That looked really good, and it just got me wanting to play like all these kind of like co-op games, like you said, Brian. And then I haven't played it, but Betrayal at House on the Hill, I've always wanted to play.
Oh my God, that game is so much fun. If that's definitely one, like if you're looking for a gift for like yourself and your family, I would highly recommend buying that one. Because that was actually fun because it combines, it starts as a co-op and then it turns into competitive, but you don't know exactly what form that competition is going to take. It's kind of one of those games where you can play it 100 times and get a different experience every time. So I would definitely recommend picking that one up.
Oh, sweet.
Can you play that for 2, or does it need more?
You know, I don't know. I've never tried. The only times I've ever played it was with at least 3 or 4 people. I would guess it would be difficult with 2, although it might be one of those things where like you can be one person playing more than one character. I would need to check that out. I'm not sure if you can do that or not, though.
Okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to play that one.
And a game, as we realized on our Halloween Hangover episode, Tamika and I can recommend 13 Dead End Drive, which we both played randomly the same like week without even knowing it. And
Now, are these like on? Are these available in stores too? Or are they? Because some only show up online.
I think
You know.
Pandemic's available in stores.
Yeah, Betrayal at Hill House, that's definitely available in stores. I've seen that.
I'm not sure about Terrified or Horrified. Sorry.
I
went to the Shudder movie.
Did anyone play the Thing game that came out a couple years ago? The Thing board game?
I've heard that one is very involved.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone talk about it since it came out.
I've heard good things about it. So, that. And then, of course, I think last year we talked about it was Mixtape Massacre. That one's a lot of fun, and they keep putting out new content for it. So that's a good one to try.
Another really good one, if you're into a co-op, is Zombicide. I don't know if anybody's played that.
I've heard of that. Never played it, though.
No.
So it's another co-op where you're essentially a group of people getting plucked into, like, name your favorite zombie story, movie, TV show. You're basically put in the middle of that, where you need to get from A to B to get a certain amount of supplies, or you need to get out through a certain escape route. And the game, based off of whatever scenario you're playing, will keep feeding zombies like onto the board. And you need to avoid them there's different like weapon cards you can get. There's different ways that, like, if you make noise, you're going to draw people to you. And it's another one of those games where the game board, quote unquote, is made from a bunch of different tiles that you can shape in different ways. And like the basic, it's one of those things where you can buy like the basic set and then you can get add-ons and things like that. But even just the basic one has like 10 to 15 different scenarios. So I think it's like 50 or $60, but it's also like that'll last you because you'll get a lot of different game experiences out of just one box.
See, that sounds really cool, but when you said the word Zombicide, I was picturing a game which was about a homicide detective in the zombie world. He's a zombie detective, and he has to solve murders.
Well, that's your copyright property now, sir. I mean, you'll have to come up with a different title because that's taken. But the premise, I think that's aching for an adaptation of some kind.
I think kind of like what they were originally going to do for The Walking Dead when it was going to be a procedural on NBC and Rick Grimes was going to solve a different murder in the zombie apocalypse. This is a true story.
It's funny. There's a book called Brain Eater Jones by Stephen Kozanowski that is about a living dead homicide detective who he's like an undead private eye. So he has to figure out cases like that. So
great. Well, there goes that.
But yours is a human, though, right? So you can still.
No, he's not human. Mine's a zombie. He's a zombie.
Yeah, sorry, Scott.
Stephen, if you're listening, collaborator on the line.
Wait, isn't there like a CW show like that? Isn't it on the CW?
iZombie.
Oh, yes.
All right, fine. Okay, it sucks.
So I think the point we're trying to get to, Scott, is that was wholly unoriginal, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
This is nothing new. That's my motto: wholly unoriginal.
I do want to kind of bring up Kozanowski because he does have a new book out called Skin Wrapper, and it's a prequel book to the Hematophages, which is one of my favorite horror books I've ever read that came out a couple years ago. If you like Event Horizon and if you like The Thing, it's kind of like those two movies combined.
So Scott's out.
Or if you like at least one of those, but that just came out recently and is available on Amazon. So if you like space horror, you really he's expanding this universe that is just so good, and it's kind of like Space Vampires meets The Thing, where you can't really trust anybody, and space pirates too. So everything's space, everything horror, and go read it.
Now here's what this is not a word of a lie. From February 21st, 2019, I have a note in my phone where I came up with the idea horror lawyer. So,
Really?
Yeah, it's a whole courtroom of different crimes in the horror world, and that can be anything from monsters to slashers to whatnot, and they each have, representation to go before the judge within the horror world. So I thought of that.
Now,
Yeah, but now you just shared it with everybody.
Copyright CC.
we have verbal confirmation.
I don't know if it
Timestamp
works that.
this.
I'm not sure if it works that way, guys.
Timestamp.
Just imagine the copyright symbol and you're okay. I could see that as I think that'd be a fascinating board game too, where you play. I don't know how that would exactly work, but that just sounds really interesting. Or like a sitcom, that would be really fun.
Like Night Court.
Yeah, exactly.
You could still have Richard Mall on it as the priest from Evil Speak. This writes itself. I'm telling you.
Shudder, if you're listening.
I think Brian's in. I think you got him. You have one investor here.
Horror lawyer is hard to say, though. It's like on 30 Rock, the rural
juror. Yeah, it's the same.
I'm sorry.
Horror lawyer.
I'm still stuck on, well, I thought of that. Oh, no. Okay. I'm okay.
And kept it.
I could see this getting at least a pilot. I want to see how this turns out.
Yeah.
It would be comedy too, I'm guessing. Definitely lots of opportunities for comedy.
It would be completely comedy. I'm not sure how you would make a serious drama.
No, I was just going to say, I thought this was going to be, super serious, no smile drama.
All right, but now that I caught my breath, if we're going to do this, we're bringing John Larroquette back. If we're going to bring some of the Night Court crew back, we got to get Larroquette back.
Oh, completely. He could play his, you know what he is? He's like the Doug Newell of inside this horror world, because it's televised. And in his voice from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he narrates everything out in the hallway and talks with the people after their case is done.
Wow, that is brilliant. I need to see this now.
I should shut up, because I don't think this is a horrible idea, actually.
I'm fully on board.
Yeah, and I don't think we can top this. So if you're listening on our Black Friday shopping recommendations episode of Corpse Club, we took you to Hellraiser. We talked about Tamika's birthday. We gave you some recommendations that I hope you will find useful. And we finished with Horror Lawyer. So we hope you have enjoyed this journey through absurdity. And and with that, another Corpse Club episode comes to an end. I want to thank Brian, as always, for helping us out each and every episode. And we want to thank our listeners, including those of you who have signed up for a Corpse Club membership. Make sure to visit corpseclub.com to check out our latest episode and our backlog. You can also sign up to become a Corpse Club member. There are opportunities to get a Corpse Club pin, a shirt, pick an episode topic. We can do a full episode on Horror Lawyer, or episodes if enough of you subscribe and you each pick an episode topic. It could be Horror Lawyer episode 1, Horror Episode Lawyer, or Horror Lawyer episode 2. See, I can't even say Horror Lawyer more than once.
We'll work on the title.
We'll work on the
Horror.
Yeah,
maybe raw law, but that sounds a little suggestive.
I don't know what you're saying, Derek.
Raw law?
Yeah.
Master of the Universe.
No, like RAWLAW, Ra La. Again, not maybe not appropriate.
No, it's not. It's not, Derek. No one would ever think horror lawyer.
So
What's that one about the horror lawyer? Raw law.
So stay scary.
No, we still have more. I gotta remind you, if you've enjoyed this episode, if you want more episodes like this, rate and review us on iTunes. Each and every review helps. If you didn't like this episode, though, you don't have to rate and review us. You can just leave this one. You can find us on Google Play and SoundCloud and all your favorite podcast providers. And if you want to get in touch, you can reach out anytime at contact@corpseclub.com. On Twitter, we're at Daily Dead News and at Corpse Club. And on Instagram and Facebook, we're under Corpse Club as well. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay scary.